Let me test a few things out. Hello. Okay. This is a bit difficult. All right. So we're dealing with flowcharts here, right? So remember, as I'm a programmer, what we're basically doing here is we are telling the computer to do things. Remember, I told you, a computer is this stupid child, right? Does not know anything, and you tell it what to do and it does it for you. It has the potential to do great things, but it needs to be told, right? So building from that foundation, when you telling it to do things, you have to, before explaining the process, you have to give it inputs, right? You have to tell it that you're going to get a few variables, and you have to tell it that with those variables you have to do something, and after doing something, the process, you have to display the results. Yeah, basically it. There's processes, maybe more than one, but at the end of the day, it has to display something or do some work. Yeah, well, with all this work it's doing, it has to output something, right? And that's just me babbling, explaining generally what the computer does. So when you come into stuff like flowcharts and nani, it's easier to understand more intuitively. Yeah, well? Now, when we're dealing with flowcharts, remember, you as a computer scientist know how to communicate with a computer, right? But then, someone who's not doing IT or any computer course whatsoever does not know. You are not going to be pitching to I'm a computer scientist. You're going to be pitching to business people. You're going to be pitching to people who don't have the skills to do it themselves, right? And what we do when we create flow charts is that we're basically showing them what we're going to do, right? We're showing them exactly what we are going to do. Okay, so in doing so, we'd like to conform to uniformity, right? We want to have some code. Um, so that when I explain to client A and you explain to client A, it's not a matter of whose flowcharts is more appealing. Yeah, well, it's not a matter of who did it better, but it's a matter of what is being done and is it being done proper. So we'd like to have uniformity. That's one of the reasons for uniformity. But another one of the reasons for uniformity is that let's assume this is you. This is your flowchart, and I create something like this, and we're both pitching to the same client. Now, although your idea looks better, yeah, it doesn't mean it's right. And here, with all the squiggly stuff, it might be a bit confusing, but the right message is being sent. It might even be the same, yabo? But one is going to be discredited because, well, yeah, one is going to be discredited due to bias. People have preferences, and to bypass those preferences, we come up with a code. So remember, when we tell a computer to do work, it needs to input and output stuff, and it needs to process something. And those three things are the key things as Cornela from the first video, more especially. The first video goes into great detail about these three things. So I'm just building from that video I saw, and yeah. Sorry, had a very hectic day today, but more on that later. School. So we have izinto that we call some data symbols, right? We have data symbols. So I'm not sure noma kuyabonakala. I'll just use the page esengibhale kuyona. We have Jesus Christ. We have my data symbols. So my data symbols, your inputs and your outputs are a rhombus. You represent them as a rhombus, and your processes, you represent them as a square. We'll delve into that actually in a few. Example was Chileon, I was telling us about how you're expected to calculate the balance given some inputs and number of years. Basic econ stuff, right? Ne? So the thing I want you to take note there is that they gave you variables. So the first thing when you are dealing with flow charts, you want to get down. The first thing you want to get down is that what are my variables going to be? Assignment code does not give you what the video did. The variables, you have to come up with them yourselves. So uba when you want to calculate some balance, so maybe they didn't tell you my variables. Maybe they told you ufuna calculate a balance of loan or something, because I think the formula corner is the compound interest. So yeah, you want to calculate some loan over a certain period of time. Say employee maybe Investec, and yeah, you need to do some compounding there, and bashoda code yokuyenza yonke leyo nto, and you as the programmer uyabona ukuthi there is a space here, there is code needed. It's tedious ukuyenza ngesandla. Code just takes inputs and gives outputs without anyone sweating or thinking or doing anything except for punching numbers down, yabo. So in order for you to pitch to them, you need to design a flowchart, right? And in designing a flowchart, now this is where this gets a bit tricky. In designing a flowchart, several things have to be considered. You need to first consider. Let's leave it here for now. This is the explanation. The following video will be application.